What's up, guys? It's your boy Keep It Real MMA. I'm gonna keep it a more serious topic for this video. This one I want to talk about like how certain UFC fighters confuse me, but also how the UFC confuses me in general, and why certain fighters are pissing me off at the moment, right? So you got certain fighters, right? Like Yaya Rodriguez, who is demanding a title shot off of a 1-fight winning streak. Now, there's only 2 instances where I'll agree with a guy getting a title shot off of a 1-fight win streak. One, if he was the champion and it was a very questionable decision, or it was an extremely early stoppage, or they got robbed in some sort of way, right? Rematch, fair enough. Or if he was the challenger and it was a very early stoppage, or we got robbed by a decision or any type of way. That's why I agreed with Colby getting a title shot after beating Tyron Woodley, because he beat a guy in the top 5 at the time. You could say what you want about his losing streak, but he lost 2 in a row at that time. He still beat the top 5 guy. He got robbed against Usman in the first fight. It was so many shots to the back of the head. You can literally see the video, and you can also see that Usman literally took breaks during that fight. He did not get kicked in the dick. Quite obvious. And don't get me wrong, he dropped Colby clean twice, but the ref stopped it very early, and the amount of back of the head shots that Usman was getting away with was ridiculous. So I agreed with Colby getting the title shot, but Colby still pissed me off, because the reason Colby pissed me off is because he wasted his prime sitting out for an entire year, well, over a year after he beat Woodley, just to get a title shot. And he fought to not what I believe off of the MMA scoring criteria. It should have been a draw. But obviously they give it to Usman. 49-46 phantom card for him, Ngannou and Gano. Mad. But, who coincidence. But this is what pisses me off, right? That you got fighters wasting their prime, sitting out for a title shot. We live in an era where legit, for some reason, the champions want it more than the contenders. And I know MMA Guru touched on this topic a bit, but I just want to give my own thoughts on it. So, yeah, I'm pissed off that Colby legit wasted his prime sitting out for a title shot, and I know he called out Masvidal, but he knew that fight wasn't going to happen, because Masvidal was sitting out on the sidelines waiting for a title shot himself. And, it's just one of those. Colby deserved to get it straight away because of what happened in the first fight, and he beat a top 5 guy. But he should have taken a fight in the meantime. If it was going to take that long, he should have just taken a fight in the meantime. While Masvidal was getting the title shot, he could have fought Burns. He could have fought any of those guys. He even could have fought Wonderboy instead of Burns fighting him. He could have fought anybody. Yeah, he wasted his prime sitting there. And what's pissing me off now is that Yaya Rodriguez is doing the same thing. He beats Brian Ortega by a freak accident injury, right? Which, fair play to him, he did put Brian Ortega in that position to pull out his shoulder, right? I'll give him that. And he was lighting him up on the feet, but you can't just go off of that, because Ortega was taking those shots, and Ortega was trying to fight through. It could have been another Ortega-Max Holloway situation, but we never know. It was the first round. And this is what pisses me off, right? He's sitting there, and they asked him, do you want to fight Josh Emmett for the interim belt to decide who gets the title shot? And bear in mind now, it's very generous of the UFC to give him this, because don't forget, Josh Emmett is on a 5-fight winning streak, and he has beaten better names than Yaya Rodriguez. And I know Brian Ortega is better than the names that Emmett has beaten, but it was a doctor stoppage TKO win, you know what I mean? So it kind of dampens it. Even though he was winning the fight, he was winning the round. Sorry guys, I'm so tired. It's almost 2 in the morning, yeah. I just wanted to record this before I went to bed. But yeah, this is what I don't understand. Is like, you should either you're in a very prestigious position, because don't forget, you had a very, very, very close fight with Max Holloway, which you lost. You were very lucky to be given that fight. considering you were on a USADA suspension because you dodged all 3 of the tests throughout the year. Decided not to give him your whereabouts for some reason. So, and all of a sudden you come back and have amazing cardio against the best pacer in the sport. Well, arguably between him and Colby, in Max Holloway, and all of a sudden you show great cardio, able to last the 5 rounds. And make the last 2 rounds very close. Well, not so much the 4th, but the 5th. It doesn't make sense to me. Like a fight ago, you were like, I think, probably about a fight ago, you're fighting Jeremy Stevens in a 3-rounder and you're gassing in a 3rd. And all of a sudden, 2 years later, you have an amazing cardio tank after not being in there for 2 years, and you were on a USADA suspension because you ducked all 3 of the tests. So, but I don't want to get too much into that, but it's like, but my point is, what I'm trying to say is that Yair Rodriguez was in a very, very lucky position, considering how he's basically embarrassed the UFC by how he's acted and how he's been, and how he's acting all, full of tantrums and shit again, saying, in his interviews, he's trying to act all calm and cool, but he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to wait for a title shot. So you're going to wait until Volkanovski fights the winner of Oliveira and Makhachev? So you're going to wait all that time? Really? And fighters wonder why they regret some aspects of their career, because they set out on the sidelines and waste their prime. Their prime years of their career was wasted of them waiting for a title shot. You don't get to call the shots. You're a contender. You're not a champion. You're a contender. When you got champions like Volkanovski, who is taking short notice fights, willing to go up and down, up weight and back down to his weight class when he's done up there. A guy that's more hungry than you when he's the champion. It's not a good thing, it's like, and it was the same thing with the welterweight division. It was pissing me off, and a lot of it was Colby logjam in the division, and because he was holding on to that number 1 contender spot. And the thing is, right, like what? You're logging up the division, right? And you got the champion, Kamaru Usman, more active than everybody else in the top 10. More active than Burns, more active than Masvidal, Colby, Sean Brady, Michael Chiesa. I know Michael Chiesa ain't in the top 10 anymore, but, you know what I mean? More active than Bilal Muhammad, Vicente Luque. More active at the time, right? Not anymore, but at the time. When he was on that, those rematches, yeah? And, like, I just don't understand it. Like, but the thing is, right, this is how I would fix the divisions, right? Connor's now going to do that film. That movie, the Roadhouse remake. I believe you do Colby versus Gilbert Burns. You do Masvidal versus Stephen Thompson 2. Now, if Masvidal beats Wonderboy, he gets the loser of Colby and Burns, okay? Either way, that's a top 5 fight for him, okay? Whoever wins out of Colby and Burns, right, gets a title shot, in my opinion, because Colby will be on a 2-fight winning streak. Those are my requirements if it's not, what I said before, being the challenger champion, robberies, blah, blah, blah. And 2 of those wins have to be at least 1 in the top 10 and 1 in the top 5, or 3 in the top 10, in my opinion. So, or at least 2 wins, and, or, something like that. So, obviously, he would have beaten Masvidal, who was number 6 at the time. And if he beats Burns, he would have beaten number 4. So, yeah, he definitely deserves a title shot, whether it's Leon or Usman that wins. And the thing is, right... sorry. Like, you got to look at it this way, right? Like, if Colby beats Burns, he gets the title shot. So it's either Colby versus Usman 3 or Colby versus Leon, right? Which would be a nice matchup, really, for both guys. But if Burns wins, then it's either Burns versus Usman 2 or Burns versus Leon Edwards. So at least you're keeping it. So there's a potential for a fresh matchup, and you're getting the fucking division moving. Because the thing is now, right, you've got a position where not just Colby though, Gilbert, Burns is kind of sitting out really. And the thing is, right, Colby kind of has to sit out at the moment because of the legal stuff, right? Same with Masvidal. But like you got to look at it this way, right? Like Sean Brady's fighting Bilal Muhammad now. If Bilal Muhammad wins, he's gonna call for a title shot. I know for a fact he's gonna call for a title shot. And if Colby doesn't, get any fight booked in the meantime, you have to give Bilal the title shot. You can't give Sean Brady the title shot off if he doesn't deserve it. He hasn't got enough wins in the top 10. So at least with Bilal, he would have beaten Damian Maia, Vicente Luque, and Sean Brady. So that'd be 3 wins, and he definitely deserves a title shot. So at least you're getting the division moving though with these matchups. But we need more. We need more matchups. You know what I mean? We need Masvidal versus Wonderboy. You know what I'm saying? We need the matchups. Shavkat Rakhmonov. We need to match him up with somebody. You know what I mean? We need to get Kevin Holland into the top 15. I don't know what's happened with Kevin Holland talking about all this, or I love being active, I love this bullshit. There's no fights being made. You fought twice. You know what I mean? And it's already August. You know what I mean? It's gone past halfway the year. We're in the 8th month. There's 4 months left of the year, you know? So, I don't know what's going on here. So it's like, it just seems like everybody who used to be active is not active anymore. And everybody who weren't active is starting to get a tiny bit more active. Like Jeff Neal is getting more active now. You know, he's fighting Vicente Luque. Even Vicente Luque is getting a bit more active now. Bilal Muhammad's getting a bit more active. You know what I mean? So, like, we need to keep it rolling. We need to keep it rolling. You know what I'm saying? And I just realized, no, Gilbert should not get the title shot if he beats Colby, because there would have been one fight. I'm breaking my own rules. No, if Gilbert wins, he gets the loser of the title fight. If he beats the loser of the title fight, then he gets a title shot. My bad. So that's how I'd fix the welterweight division in terms of stagnation, fight entitleness. And I'll fully call out Colby on this aspect, because Colby is my favorite fighter. If you all know me personally, or you've known from, I think it's one of my TikTok videos, it was my first fight that I did, Colby. Colby is my favorite fighter. And the thing is, right, like, I'm not afraid to call out my favorite fighter in the sense of he was entitled. Not so much ever since that second Kamaru loss. That shouldn't have been a loss. It was a draw. Because he went, he turned around pretty quickly 4 months later and fought Masvidal. Now he can't fight because of the whole situation when it comes to the legal situation, because Masvidal's a bitch and sucker punched him from behind. So that's fine. So now, but when Colby is able to fight, I fully expect him to be active, because his prime is slowly going now. He's wasted most of his prime. And the thing is, right, match up against Gilbert as quick as possible. If not, then Colby's being entitled again. Same with Gilbert if Gilbert don't take it. So you just gotta be in this certain thing. So that's how I do it with the welterweight division. Now the featherweight division. Now you got Yair Rodriguez, who's number 2 in the world now. He moved from number 3 to number 2 in a very lucky way. And now all of a sudden, and I don't mean it by the actual win itself, because he did put Brian Ortega in that situation. But I'm fed up with these fucking fighters getting fucking title shots off a 1-fight win streak. Same with Gaethje as well. Gaethje getting a title shot off of a 1-fight win streak, man. And it's infuriating, man, because they don't deserve it. Like, they just don't deserve it. So it's like, but that kind of resolved itself, because even though he got the title shot, Gaethje now lost. So Gaethje's forced to fight a couple more times, especially if Oliveira beats Makhachev, which I think he will. So it's kind of like that. But let me take my attention to the featherweight division, then I'll get to the lightweight division. Now, the entitledness is real on Yair, right? Because Yair is saying, like, I'm waiting out for a title shot, blah, 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 I've earned it. You've earned nothing, bro. You've earned nothing, bro. Until you get another win against a guy in the top 5, you do not deserve it. Bear in mind, in my opinion, Josh Emmett versus Calvin Kattar was a robbery. But Still, on paper, like Gaino Sanya beating Whittaker, which he shouldn't have. Whittaker should have won. On paper, he won, right? So Emmett is on a 5-fight win streak, I believe, because of that. Emmett could get a title shot right now. But I think this is what you do. Yair Rodriguez doesn't want that fight, so you do Josh Emmett versus Arnold Allen for the interim belt. In the meantime, Volkanovski is looking to move up to the lightweight division after Oliveira Makachev. Whoever wins out to Emmett and Arnold Allen obviously gets the title shot, because I think Arnold Allen is 8-0 or 9-0 in the UFC, so a 9-fight win streak. So, you know what I mean, it's a no-brainer really. And say with Emmett, you know, if Emmett wins, 6-fight win streak, but it doesn't matter anyway, because they'll be the interim title holder anyway. It kind of pisses me off that Brandon Moreno in the flyweight division's getting a title shot. You know, he had the interim flyweight belt because 1-fight win streak once again. But, you know, at least he holds the interim belt, though. At least he has the interim belt. But yeah, you know, it's one of those. It's one of those. So I look at it, and to fix this, you say, okay, so you punish Yair Rodriguez by making Arnold Allen versus Josh Emmett for the belt, in my opinion, and that's how you fix the featherweight division. But the thing that pisses me off is that, basically, what pisses me off is that these fighters are talking about fighter pay, talking about this and that, but they are waiting out for years. Like, they take no damage and then turn back around a year later and then they complain about pay. Like, a lot of them take no damage in their fights, don't get injured, admit they don't get injured, and then come back a year later. So that doesn't make sense to me. So you're clearly getting paid enough. There's got to be some white lies in you a little bit, but that's just my thought on it. I could be completely wrong, but I would assume if I was a fighter, I'm trying to think logically. If I was a fighter, I just got a win where I barely took any damage, I got no injuries. I'd be looking to turn it back around as quick as I possibly can. Especially if I'm not getting paid that much. I mean, why wouldn't I? That's what we gotta look at in reality, right? So how much is Yair on per fight, you know, win and show and win, to be able to take that much time off? You know what I'm saying? It's the same with Brian Ortega though, taking 2 years off after the Max Holloway beatdown. And it makes sense because of the beatdown, but he still took 2 years off. He only needed about a year. Calvin Kedzie took off a year after the Max Holloway fight because it was needed. And he came back and looked great against Kedzie, and he came back and looked great against Emmett. Should have had the win. So, you know, Keita's looking very good. So now, you know, that's a tactical year off. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, Yair wasn't. He was just blatantly avoiding USADA until he got the suspension, and then he comes back and gets to fight the #1 contender. I don't know why the UFC, because the UFC wants, actually I do know why, the UFC wants a Mexican champion again. That's why Brandon Moreno got the interim title shot without winning a fight, obviously losing his belt. Figgy clearly won 3-2, and then, so now they want to get a Mexican champion as quick as they can again. So, sorry guys. But yeah, so like, it's clear what they're trying to do, right? So it's like, the UFC are very tactical about it, but I can see through the lines. It's easy, right? If you just have, you know, just a noggin up there, you can tell what they're trying to do, yeah? So that's what they're trying to do. And the thing is, right, like, these fighting entitledness is what's pissing me off the most, but they log jam in their own divisions, right? But yeah, that's how you fix the featherweight division. Just fuck off Rodriguez, because he's being a prick. They've given him everything he wanted when he come back, and he's still throwing it back in their face. So I reckon they should punish him for that. And the only thing that really pisses me off about the lightweight division was that nobody is willing to fight each other, but now they are kind of willing to fight each other. Hopefully Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson gets made next. But what's pissing me off is that obviously Makachev getting the title shot against Oliveira. And I don't care what they say, right? Oh, the top 10 scared to fight me, blah, blah, blah. Thiago Moises did not have a ranking before he signed to fight you. They gave him a fake ranking so you could get into the top 15 by beating him, yeah? You beat him, fair and square. all of a sudden you're in the top 15, and then a couple of months later, without beating a single guy in the top 10, or beating a single guy in the top 5, I believe he was made number 4, or number 5 in the world. And then he takes on Dan Hooker on short notice, less than a week's notice, basically, who is number 6 in the world, beats him, first guy in the top 10 that he beats, not a top 5 guy, top 10, and then he gets a title shot against Charles Oliveira. It's unbelievable. Like, and people talk about these win streaks. There's a reason why Leon didn't get the title shot so quickly. His 9-fight win streak were mainly against unranked guys, like Brian Barberena, Gunnar Nelson, people like that. Yeah, but he did have very good. He should have had the title shot after he beaten RDA though, because RDA was ranked number 1 at the time. Well, actually, after Colby had his title shot, but obviously he didn't get it straight away. So it's like it's hard to say, but it's like it just, I don't know. It does my head in, man. It just does my head in. So it's like it's just one of those where he given number 4 now because he beat number 6 on a week's notice and beat Bobby Green, who's outside the top 15. And then he gets a title shot, and they go, oh, but a 10-fight win streak. Yeah, against who, though? 10-fight win streak against who? Against who? Because the thing is, right, he's beating all these unranked guys. He beats one guy in the top 10, and he gets a title shot. Well, but then he proceeds then after that, on a very short notice again, to then fight a guy outside of the top 15, and then he gets a title shot. I know he was supposed to be fighting Beneil Dariush, but he didn't fight Beneil Dariush, simple as that. If he had beaten Beneil Dariush, I would have more than agreed with him getting the title shot. So, I don't know, man. It's one of those where the UFC really just have big lapses of judgment, but that's what I want to talk about today. Guys, please, if you're new, please make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you want. Let me know what you think in the comments. Sorry about all the yawning, fucking tired as fuck, 9:10. So yeah, anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed. My TikTok is Keep It Real Edits. I am Keep It Real MMA over here. Like I said, like and subscribe. More content coming soon. I'm pumping out as much as I can. I love MMA, so stay tuned, guys, for the next video. I love you so much. See you guys. Peace.